Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. Oh boy, here we go. This is gonna be a hell of a thing. So I'm just gonna hit the start button real quick just in case it turns out there's a bloody demo or something on here. I don't think there is, but we'll go through anyway. So, here's the deal. I actually own this on PlayStation 4, if you followed that remote play channel I did for a while, but then I stopped doing because it costs so much bloody money to support both the PC, that's going to be really loud, I'm going to turn that down a little, to support a PC and a PS4 and a Vita all at the same time. It's just kind of ridiculous, so we're just going to have to worry about that later on. So, I've actually played this for a lot longer than I usually would have. I played through Empire mode, I played through the Yellow Turban Rebellion on normal mode, and then I decided, well, I might as well put it up to hard, see what hard's like, and go through that on the Vita. So I've done all that, so that's probably like, overall, that's probably like 10 hours in this game. Pretty much. The game does have cross-save and cross-load, and I did indeed utilize that. Unfortunately, I don't think very much carries over between game to game, so I don't think there was any point in me doing that. So if we go have a look at the options, it's pretty much everything you would expect. Like, there's nothing out of the ordinary here in terms of a Dynasty Warriors game. So, that's not that big of a deal. And you've also got bonus points. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to new game, and I'm going to show you what going through a new game, or what building a new game is like. And then we're going to go back and load into my old game. So, you can pick one of the pre-built scenarios that has one of many things, and you can also pick who you're playing at the time. So I ended up playing the Yellow Turban Rebellion as Liu Bei, and I ended up taking over for Yuan Shao and just winning the entire game. But no matter what place or what person you pick, the goal is exactly the same every time. Take over the entirety of the world. All of it. So you take over every single territory and have them all under your rule. Fair enough, right? You've also got downloadable content. Unfortunately, we don't actually get any with the review copies. And we've also got custom scenarios, which I haven't actually made, but it's pretty simple. You just put specific leaders in specific spots, and that basically just determines the game, and then the AI does everything for you at the end. You can also do a Gathering of Heroes, which is just basically a random mode, so you can also have replace famous and common officers, but I'll get to them. And you can also turn on special settings with your bonus points, so you can turn on like weapons and items that you've unlocked and unlock all the stratagems and stuff like that. I don't know why you would do this, because these are basically cheats, but whatever. So, now that we've done that, there's something else I need to explain first. So, there's no secondary mode in this game, unfortunately. There's only free mode, which lets you go and fight specific bosses with specific things. But you've also got the edit mode, which lets you create custom officers, units, just pretty much anything you can imagine replacing in this game you can do. And even better, you can go online and download literally people's random characters and take them into the game with you. For example, I've got fucking Kanata from Lucky Star right here, and I've seen her several times. She's a pain in the ass. I don't even know, and she just annoys the shit out of me. We've got, like, fucking Grand Admiral Thrawn from the Star Wars books. Those are some great books, but bloody hell, they do some fantastic bloody recreations here. Like, I've got a few down here, like, whoops. I got a few down here that are hilarious. Like, we've got the fucking Ninja Turtles. Look at this. Look at that. Like, you can't make this shit up. Well, actually, you can make this shit up, because this is what people have done. I've even got, like, Sword Art Online characters. It's just... It doesn't... Some of these aren't great recreations, but sometimes they're actually kind of hilarious. Like, Mako Tsunami looks like... It looks kind of like him, but at the same time it looks nothing like him. Yeah, Mai looks nothing like her, but whatever. So we'll just hit back, and you can do that with custom soldiers, and you can make scenarios and all that, and you've got your online play and your gallery and your encyclopedia. Like, comes with every single bloody Dynasty Warriors game you can imagine. So, with that said, I think it's time we just went and loaded a game, so I'm going to hit continue. You can also do quick loads and cross loads and quick saves and stuff like that. So yeah, this game's like 3 or 4 hours in at this point, something like that, and I am going to load into the latest save, because that's what we do. We don't load into the earliest save, that would be silly. Thankfully, the loading times are actually pretty good most of the time, so you don't have long to wait until you're into the actual action, or in this case, the strategy! which is fucking non-existent. Now, this game does make it look like you can do a lot. And honestly, it doesn't really matter that much in the end of the day, because really, it's just playing with a couple of numbers and then just doing random crap. But anyway, I'm going to take a fair amount of time to go through this, and hopefully we won't spend too long here, but this is just how the whole game works. So the idea is, we have a bunch of different things we can do for a bunch of different people. We've got 3 main resources: materials, gold, and troopers. We also have personnel that we can have a look at if we press start and go to the player info, the ally info, I should say. We've also got personnel who we can have friendship, and they also have virtue, and that virtue determines how they interact with certain people. Every trooper also has their own unique level, and if you use them too much, they all get exhausted, so you have to try and rest them up in between battles and all that. As you can see, I am supremely overpowered. I can run through like 20 to 25 officers and not have a problem. This is on bloody hard, so I don't understand. We can also come here to check the territory info. Now, we can build all sorts of different structures, like academies, item shops, and stuff like that. And when we do, and if we build enough of them in our territory, we can buy the special items that are indicated in territories that we own, down to the bottom left there. So there is a reason to go and try and get as many territories as possible if you want to go for a specific item, because as far as I'm aware, you can't carry shit over between games. It all starts fresh, so if you're always going to be going through the same process, which is starting as either a free officer or a ruler or something. I usually start as a free officer just to have some sort of variety, but if you start off as a ruler, you'll probably be able to do what I'm doing. I'm a prefect, so I'm pretty close to the top, and I can do pretty much everything I could do if I was in the leading role anyway, so we can also check how the entire kingdom's doing. And the idea is basically that we can fiddle with our numbers here in order to get stuff done, like healing soldiers, doing special types of training, which is, you know, something you want to be doing as much as possible, especially on the harder difficulties. And you can also do stuff that increases and decreases your virtue, which again determines how certain people interact with you. And you can also do schemes, which are the same thing. There's a lot of schemes that come up later on, like you can get some officers to leave other kingdoms and join yours, but honestly, it's easier just to invade and take over those things and take them with you. Speaking of which, this is where you come to do your battles. So you can get invaded from time to time, and you can defend, and you can also raid and do damage and make further battles easier. And you can also join in battles and secede and betray, but unfortunately I can't secede or betray because I'm actually, what's the word, bound brothers with Ling Tong, who leads this place, so yeah, that's a thing. We can also come to the blacksmith and purchase stuff, but again, considering everything resets at the very end of the game, usually by the time you've got all the really good shit, you won't have that much time left to actually use it. So it's a pretty big pain. And you can also choose to rest, but that doesn't really do anything. It's better just to, you know, either amass resources or spend money or, you know, take your pick. So yeah, there's not really that much else to tell you. You can do more as you get higher into the ranks. At the very bottom, you actually have to go and do quests, which are these really small, really annoying battles that actually have nothing to do with anything, but just give you a little bit of friendship and a special reward and something like that, like a weapon. But they're a massive pain in the ass, and it's a better idea just to get in under a guy right away and start doing shit for him, unless you're planning to go for a specific way of life. Way of life is entirely more annoying than it should be. Or, I guess they're titles now? I don't know what they bloody are, but you've got all these different titles that you can earn, different ways of life that you can earn, and they all have different requirements, and you can... And if you have a specific few of them, your title will change, and there's just a ton of those to unlock, and you can't actually check the ways of life. You have titles here and ways of life, they're different things. And some ways of life require specific titles, and you get the specific titles, and you get yada 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 yada. Unfortunately, you can't check which ones you've unlocked, which is a massive pain in the ass, because anyone trying to platinum them will need to get all them. You can also do things like get married and have kids, but I haven't actually managed to come across that yet because, you know, bugger me, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do something a little bit... We're just going to do something else. We're going to celebrate with someone who we feel like celebrating with. So I'm going to celebrate with Lulin Qi. And that costs me money, but my friendship with her goes up. And I've gotten titles, and the more titles you get, the more your stats increase. They are one way of increasing your stats. You can also have merits, and merits increase... What's going on? Bloody Jiazhu, he loves me. He's been giving me random shit like every month. This is ridiculous. This can happen from time to time, he gave me a sickle, which I can't use, but he can use them as well, so I might as well like equip them to him. Yeah. So I've got different virtue levels, and obviously if I can get my virtue level higher, that would be great. But well. So I celebrated with Lulin Key. I don't think I can send her like a request. Oh, sworn sibling vow. Oh, I can confess to Lulin Key. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can actually get married. If this isn't just like a roll of the dice. Well, holy shit, it actually happened. Hey, Lu Bu, I'm fucking your daughter. How do you feel? People say don't pursue Lu Bu. He's probably going to be pursuing me. He's going to want my head after this. Yeah, you can see the frame rate having issues. That comes back. Trust me. Worst proposition ever. I love it. It's literally the I'm a man, you're a woman, let's bang argument. It's quite literally that. That's ridiculous. Sao, we need to take you to a bloody counselor or something, mate. Well, we immediately... Oh. As you can hear, the game is entirely in Japanese. They don't have the English dub, which is a little disappointing, honestly. Because I thought Dynasty Warriors games at least would get the dub, but apparently they don't. I mean, the PS4 version doesn't have the English dub either, so... Yep, we're getting married. Wonderful. It's a shame some of the custom officers can't show up here, because it'd be bloody ridiculous to see just, like, Kanata just jumping up and down and waving her hands. You've saved me from loneliness. Bitch, your father is Lu Bu. You wouldn't have trouble finding a man if you... No, I'm being mean to Lulin Key. It's not her fault. This is probably how it goes with everyone. I didn't even realize it was that easy. Just get the friendship up to A and ask her to marry her. That just works. I mean, this game's terrible advice for relationships. To be fair, we could probably have a kid right here, right now, but probably not a good idea, because that would just mean more menus and more running through like that. But anyway, we get more merits, we level up. So yeah, there are multiple ways to earn merits. And now we begin the War Council, where the leader determines what we do. But you can also, once you're commander, you can do specific things like invade and bring along half your guys with you. Or you can determine what you're planning to do throughout the month. But here's my problem with that. It just... Well, you can't object here, but I don't plan on doing so. I don't think there's any point. My problem with this entire system, just this whole entire thing, is that it feels like the rest of the world isn't doing anything while you're doing it. Like, sometimes some people will invade, sometimes some people won't. But it feels all rather stale and uninteractive, and mainly, if something's gonna happen, it's going to be you that's doing it, because just nobody does anything. Like, there are invasions sometimes, and when you get into battle, like, battle is actually battle, but just nothing happens. It's just annoying as shit, honestly, because it's like nobody does anything unless you seem to prompt it, which is really disappointing. Like, I played on normal, and I could basically just steamroll the entire map. But now I'm playing on hard and I'm doing pretty much the same thing. I've already taken over like 3 places, and it's just the AI for the Empires bit combined with the rather thin on the ground like style of doing what you're doing, because basically the idea is either make your own kingdom and take over the place, or take over someone else's leadership and then take over the place. It doesn't matter what you do. And the main goal is basically the same. What you do to get there is basically the same. And having to do that multiple times, either for a bloody platinum or for all the scenarios or all that, I can see this getting really boring really, really fast. Boy howdy. Nevertheless, let's actually go invade people. So, well, there are multiple things you can do. You can join another battle, but there's nothing going on at the moment. And again, you can do all this other stuff, but mainly invading is what you want to be doing. So let's see what we can do if we can invade. We can take along 6 people with us. I wonder if we can actually... By the way, Zintifa? That name sound familiar? Probably does. Let's invade this bastard. Because why not? I do have a bunch of guys under my command. If I was ruling the kingdom, I could bring along anybody I wanted with me. But, just, yeah, nobody does anything. Like, you can't do, like, multiple attacks on different forces. You can't do... It just feels like that you are the only one in control of anything on the battlefield. So anyway, here we are. We have battlefield objectives we can do, and most of them are bloody worthless. Like, see where I am? I have to rush over and capture that base within 3 minutes. That's impossible. With the rate the bases go down in this bloody game, that's fucking impossible. We can also defeat 3 enemy officers in 15 minutes. That's actually possible. We can also maintain our troop strength, and we can also capture bases, because we do end up having to capture bases. Sorry about that little interruption there. So yeah, you get merits for those, and merits are just more experience for you. And you can also check the battlefield info and fortify your bases, which is actually a good idea, because your bases can go down pretty quick, especially on the high difficulty, so it is worth fortifying these. Unfortunately, I'm out of materials, so this will have to do, but we're currently like 3 times stronger than the enemy, so this shouldn't be too big of a deal. Stratagems are new. These are one-use things that you can do to... Well, they're not one-use. They're repeatable over time, but the idea is that you can use them pretty much anywhere and anytime you like, depending on if you've got the energy for them, in order to just do specific things, like put down turrets and increase your own stats and get your own stuff back and stuff like that. And every soldier has access to these, but they barely use them unless it's you using them. So, quite unfortunate. You can also come and change your weapons, obviously. Should probably change out to one of these new blades. What's this one like? Yeah, your weapons work about the same way that they do in Dynasty Warriors 8. You've got all your attributes on them that can do specific things, and unfortunately you don't have access to the blacksmith like you do in Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition. So, whatever weapons you have, you're stuck with them, which is a little disappointing, because I really liked being able to build up my weapons. At the same time, I can understand why it's gone. That doesn't mean I'm not pissed off about it. And you can also, you know, get all these items here, obviously, that do specific things. You can get custom horses and all that. And of course, you've got all your move list here. You can even use your bonus points that you get by winning battles and all that to give you advantages in game, but these are not worthy uses of your bonus points, and you can come here to change your objective. So now let's get into the battle. About 20 minutes in. Yeah, the Empire bit is just a big grind. Anyway. So here we are. First thing you might immediately fucking notice is, why is the sound god-awful? Now, I know it might be kind of hard to tell when you're listening on a YouTube video, which will have, like, cut down, like, quality of audio and that, right? But, if you're listening to this on a PlayStation Vita speaker, or if you're listening to this on a pair of headphones that aren't like shitty iPod earphones like I'm using right now to not have the bloody sound rain down on me on the microphone, because I got my speaker set up right in front of my microphone, you see, then you will definitely notice that the sound sounds like something out of like a early PlayStation 1 game where they didn't bother to use the entire CD. The sound quality is just terrible. I don't think I've heard sound quality this bad in the Dynasty Warriors game. I don't know what's going on. Was Extreme Legends Complete Edition this bad? Like, I literally don't remember. I honestly don't remember it. Not literally. I honestly don't remember it being this bad. It's horrific. how bad the sound is. Like, I know Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends had the DLC that let you get better sound quality, but god damn, this is horrible. Did I completely miss this in the complete edition? I don't remember, because I haven't had it on my memory card in like 6 months, because that game is huge. It's really, really bad. Second thing you might notice, frame rate's god awful. Like, sometimes it's alright. Sometimes. Like, the overall minority, it's alright, but the majority of the time, it is bad. Like, seriously, just going through this area here is giving me terrible frame rate. It's really terrible, guys. I mean, come on. It feels like Extreme Legends Complete Edition without, like, the original, like, the patch that fixed the frame rates up and made the shadows better. Like, if you look on the ground, back when you had the Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition, like, patch come out, at least on the Japanese version. I'm still confused as to whether or not that fucking patch came out on the American version of Extreme Legends. You notice that the shadows are terrible. And here they just completely disappear. Like, why did they disappear? I don't know. But, yeah, performance in this version of the game is just really bad, even in places where Extreme Legends Complete Edition could handle it just fine, and it's just really, really disappointing, honestly. Like, did they really screw up the engine this badly? Oh yeah, by the way, there's Tifa. Looks a lot like her, it's actually pretty impressive. But, yeah, just the sound and the performance have both taken a massive downgrade, and I don't understand why. I'm really disappointed. But anyway, for those of you who don't know what Dynasty Warriors 8 is, or just Dynasty Warriors in general, and you're new to this whole entire series, well, allow me to do a little bit of explaining for you. I'll make this as quick as I can. So, in Dynasty Warriors, you play a super powerful badass in the Chinese Three Kingdoms era, and you go across these big areas in a sort of hack and slash beat 'em up style. Jim Sterling called it the spiritual successor to games like Golden Axe, which, to be fair, is actually completely true. It makes sense. So you've got a light attack and a heavy attack. And you've also got a Musu attack, that you can see down the bottom left there, the glowing gold bar there. And those Musu attacks do massive amounts of damage. And you've also got things like your Rage Meter, which is on the very bottom left, which is that little hexagon thing that's slowly increasing, which lets you go into Rage Mode, which gives you a ton of extra attack power. You can hop on your horse and move around, and you've also got things like tag teams that you can do with your buddies that can give you even stronger Musu attacks. You can block and guard and strafe. And you've got 2 different weapons that you can equip at any one time, and if they've got different elements, you can equip them against different types of enemies. And those different types of enemies will take more or less damage depending on the alignment of their weapon and the alignment of your weapon, and they can swap, and sometimes you can do things like storm rushes. Yeah, it's a relatively simple game, but it's got more depth than it looks like it does on the surface, I must say. And you've also got things like EX attacks for every particular character. Every character has their own special weapon, and their own special weapon can do their own special attacks that only they can do. And you've also got things like, you've got things like flying missile attacks, and you can, as I said before, you can customize weapons and get better weapons with different attributes and all that. Now let's talk about what's new with Empires. Now, Empires, along with that whole Empire thing in the top left there, it also just, does the same sort of typical battles that you expect in the Dynasty Warriors games. The goal is about the same most of the time. So no matter what you're doing, basically the goal is to either weaken the enemy army, capture their main base, or kill their commander. It'll be one of those 3 90% of the time. And just like that, it's that. It's basically just those 3 objectives over and over again, and the exact same path is taken every time. Capture bases to try and get to those people, and then go and just beat the snot out of enemy commanders. Yada 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 yada. Do it over and over and over and over and over again. And after a while, it gets infuriating. Infuriatingly repetitive. I mean, even for a Dynasty Warriors game, it's just kind of insane how bad it can get at times. It just... Hang on, I'm going to... Wrong stratagem. Okay, I'll swap my weapon, and then I will hit the Musu attack. There we go. So, again with Empires, there isn't that much new in terms of gameplay when it comes right down to the battles, though. So, those things on the right there are like the one major new thing included in the game. Those are called stratagems, and as I explained before, they are like little things that you can activate with that green meter there. And that green meter refills over time when you're fighting and stuff like that, right? So, you swipe them out from the left, and then you can use either D-pad or you can double tap them to activate them. And again, they all have specific effects. So there are the small ones that are activated immediately, and there are things like special attacks. Or you can do things like scale formation, which will force specific troops to leave the battlefield, and if you can stop the enemy from capturing your bases for 2 minutes, you get a special battlefield-wide effect. Like the one I just activated will do damage to the troopers for like 100-something seconds. It's not that complicated to understand. But that's basically it for the gameplay side. So as I said before, gameplay can get startlingly repetitive over a long period of time because you're basically doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like, when it comes to things like the quests that you can do early on as like a free officer or stuff like that, those are actually have a pretty good amount of variety. There's stealth missions, there's all sorts of things like, you know, defend troops, attack troops, attack caravans, and sneak through and find like moo cows, like wooden oxes to defeat to get the resources and then try and sneak out without being seen. And all sorts of silly little things like that. But they're very quick and they also get very repetitive. It's just, because you have to do them over and over and over again if you're a free officer, because there's basically nothing else you can do. You can join in battles when they do happen, but if you're not in the right spot when they start to go down, well, you're screwed. So you just end up having to just do quests over and over again while waiting for something interesting to happen. So, Empires gets really repetitive really, really fast. It just, I mean, I couldn't spend more than 2 to 3 hours at a time with this game without getting really, really bored. Compare that to Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition, which had all sorts of variety in it. I mean, sure, the base gameplay, the hack and slashy stuff, like, that'll get repetitive, but I'm a Dynasty Warriors fan, and generally I wouldn't, like, I would assume that people wouldn't buy Empires if they weren't a Dynasty Warriors fan. So I'm talking in the mindset of a Dynasty Warriors fan who enjoys these games quite a lot. And coming from Samurai Warriors 4, which admittedly has gotten a bit repetitive over the past few months because they've been releasing so many of the bloody things. And Samurai Warriors 4 Empires is releasing in like, what, 3 months? So, you know, it's nice to get a little bit of a break from Samurai Warriors 4 and while I'm waiting for Empires to come out, because I'm actually quite looking forward to that Empires. So, from someone who's a fan of Dynasty Warriors and enjoys the series, even I'm getting bored of this much quicker than I should. That is a bad thing. I am amazed at just how fast I'm getting bored of this. Because it is just so, honest to God, ridiculously dull at times. Having to repeat the same battles over and over again just to advance forward in the world. And even when you just fuck them up by accident and you end up just being like, oh, I have to go and do that battle again because god damn it. And I just won because I just completely wiped the floor with them, even on hard mode. But yeah. So, I get so bored so fast because there is almost no strategy to it because you're just manipulating a few numbers and picking the right people to attack at the right time. I actually tried doing this battle earlier and I got my ass handed to me because I only brought like 4 officers with me. I didn't even do that. That was just the leader of this whole thing being like, hey, you only get to take these guys with you. And I'm like, what the fuck, why? But whatever. So anyway, you capture these people early on and you can either recruit, release, or execute them. Fuck you. Fuck you. Yeah, you can do this. Hello, Zenji. Zenji's actually cute. I don't want to kill you because you're cute too. But anyway, I got a few new soldiers, I get the kingdom, I wiped out the Nora kingdom, and I executed their ruler, so they're not coming back. There are also things that can happen, like again, you can get married, and you can have a kid who'll grow up to be an officer. And you have small battles that show up in your own territory sometimes. Like in the Yellow Turban Rebellion, a lot of them will tend to show up, but yeah. It just means you have to go back and attack and defeat them, which is annoying, but there's not much you can really do about it. So just playing with a couple of numbers, attacking and getting a couple of soldiers here and then, but frankly, it comes down to the same thing every time, because unless Chaos has some sort of weird rules that I don't bloody know about, the game is pretty much exactly the same every time. Just get to a position of power, do what you want to do, and just in terms of like attacking kingdoms and all that, and just, you know, eventually just conquer the world. The game lasts for 50 years, so you've got plenty of time to do it. Like, look at this. 5 years, and I'm currently in the lead to take over this place, even though there's a bunch of, like, other kingdoms that are dreadfully powerful. We should probably spend some time conscripting and stuff, but yeah, it really just turns into a silly little numbers game, and it's a little disappointing, honestly. I was hoping for a little more actual strategy, like in, what was it? Nobunaga's Ambition, because I played a bunch of the PC version of that, despite the fact there's a Vita version that's not in English. And it's, yeah, it just feels really, really light on the ground, even for a bloody Dynasty Warriors game, and that's saying something. I mean, Dynasty Warriors does have some depth to it, but it's just horrendously disappointing, honestly, that the game's just so lightweight. And I'm just disappointed in it, obviously, honestly. The performance is terrible. The sound is terrible for some reason. This is a digital-only game. You think they'd give us, like, the, enhanced voices by default, even if it drove the size up a bit. Enhanced, sound effects and whatever, I'm sorry. It really feels like I'm not doing anything. I will form an alliance with the Lufan Kingdom. These guys have some weird names, but yeah, as you can see, I can do specific things to forge an alliance with them. And it tells me the exact percentage of the success, which again just makes it a numbers game. Your friendship is shown to you, so again, it's a numbers game. The Sima Shi and the Vasheng Kingdom have done an alliance, and they're invading. So we've made an alliance with the biggest kingdom in the land right now, so they're not going to attack us. So I think it'd be a good idea to invade again, just so you don't have to sit here watching me fiddle around with these menus. But again, it's all just another numbers game. That's really all it is. Just a boring numbers game on top of a heavily, heavily repetitive meta game. Of made game, what the hell am I talking about? Of just the same sort of combat that's not as interesting because you can't take your leveled up characters or your leveled up weapons, or you can do edit characters obviously, but again, in the long run, that really doesn't make that much of a difference as the base game is just so thin. But, oh well, right? You know, I'm not even going to bother saying objectives or anything, I'm just going to head straight into the fight. So, it's just, I can't help but be heavily disappointed with this iteration of Dynasty Warriors. With Empires being so thin on the ground, it's just so weird, because Samurai Warriors 2 Empires, when I played that back when I was like 12, that game had a ton of like strategic depth, and I enjoyed the hell out of that game, and I don't know why these games are just so thin on the ground and boring and repetitive, even for Dynasty Warriors. You have some good shit going with the Empires games in the Samurai Warriors universe, why not this one? Bloody hell, if they had actually bothered to bring over the Samurai Warriors 2 Empires game that got released on Vita in Japan and like nowhere else as a digital download, because fuck you, no imports. If they had just like released that, I'd be telling you to go get that instead, but right now I just have this boring example of a game right here that just, it really doesn't do anything for me. Like, bloody ambition mode for Dynasty Warriors 8 has more depth than this game. And, like, the second half at least. The first half, while an engaging grind that actually helps you out with, like, story and stuff, it's still a grind, but at the same time, when you get to the second, yes, Pegasus, that is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pegasus, that it's just the only real positive things I can say about this version of Dynasty Warriors is that you could end up fighting an army of Oompa Loompas while beating the shit out of Lucky Star characters, and that's really the only novelty this game has going for me. Even for someone who claims to be a Dynasty Warriors fan, I don't want to play this anymore. So this is why you're getting a video of me like 4 hours in when I'm not in a good spot to show everything, because I just don't want to play it anymore. It is literally the most boring Dynasty Warriors game I've played in the past 5 years. It's yeah, and this is coming from a guy who absolutely loved Extreme Legends Complete Editions, variety in story missions, variety in story just in general, and its ambition mode, and its challenge modes, and just having so much stuff to do in that game. Meanwhile, in this game, it just feels like going through the motions over and over again. You could say it justifies not really encouraging... Oh, I should get down there. You could say that the different ways of life that you can unlock give you different reasons to go different, like, play styles in the game, but even then, it's just a numbers game. You're just filling with the numbers slightly differently, and I don't see the appeal when the base game is just... The base numbers game itself just isn't all that engaging. Yeah, could you tell I don't like this game? I mean, if you're absolutely desperate for more Dynasty Warriors 8, because they're definitely not bringing out another Dynasty Warriors game for a while, like, the next Dynasty Warriors game is likely going to be Dynasty Warriors 9, and God only knows if they're going to bother putting that one out on the Vita. So, who knows? Who knows if they're actually going to, like, do another Dynasty Warriors game on the Vita? Because it's kind of having trouble keeping up with this in the first place. Like, it might be like, I don't know, what was it? Dynasty Warriors 7? Dynasty Warriors 7 came out on PSP, so it might end up being like just using Dynasty Warriors 8's engine to do Dynasty Warriors 9 stuff. But I don't know when the next one's going to come out. So if you're absolutely desperate for more Dynasty Warriors 8 and you've literally licked the carcass of Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition clean by getting all the weapons and beating all the DLC stages and getting all the stages done and all the things and being absolute perfect master of the universe in ambition mode, well, you can come and play this, but I'd be surprised if you lasted very long. It's just, Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires is just a step back in almost every way for the series at this point. Except for the base gameplay, and even then, that didn't move at all. So, if you ask me, that's kind of, that's not a good thing, really. It's probably not a good thing at all. Did I have a good time with this? Maybe. Would I recommend this to anyone who's a Dynasty Warriors fan? Probably not. Would I recommend this to anyone who isn't a Dynasty Warriors fan? God, no. Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition is still the best game to introduce yourself to this series with if you haven't gotten around to picking it up yet. Followed by Samurai Warriors 4. And then after that, probably Samurai Warriors 3 Chronicles. But yeah, just... This one is fairly low on the list. The reasons that I have covered. It's just a numbers game. There's no real strategy involved. It's the same gameplay loop over and over and over again without much difference or change unless you actively go out of your way to do it, which will probably screw you over. Custom characters is pretty cool, but it's a minor feature overall and doesn't really matter in the long run. Considering that when you start an Empires game, you start at the very beginning and you can't actually carry your progress over unless you spend thousands of bonus points. Because you only get like 200 per fight. And that's not even... Oh my god, I better get over that. I just looked at the minimap and I'm like, I just see this big blob of red and I'm like, oh shit, that's something I need to deal with. But yeah. I would absolutely recommend you avoid this one. unless you're absolutely desperate for more Dynasty Warriors. I basically have nothing else to say on the matter. This is really, like, exploity, but it's like, fuck it, I'll do it. Yeah, like, look at the way the performance drops there. It's stupid bad. Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition. Like, even the default version of Complete Edition has better performance than this on average. Like, what's taking up so much processor time? Holy shit. Yeah, this is on hard difficulty, and I'm just running them over. That is a thing, like, this game does do. It's like, if you get high level enough, you will steamroll everybody. Like, even when I was playing my game on normal mode, like, this might be different on hard mode towards the end, but on bloody normal mode, I was just, at the very end, the enemy was like half my level. I was like level 60 and they were like level 30. It might be different if you had a hard mode because, you know, the enemy AI might level up faster, but, I mean, good lord. It's just so easy to just absolutely wipe the floor once you've gotten a few levels in. And to be fair, it's actually, oh, no. Oh well. See, normally that attack would kill me. Like, when you start at, like, level 10 or whatever, a Musu attack like that would outright kill you. But when you're level 30-something and you've got a couple of items on you, that will hardly take off, like, a fifth of your life bar. See, I don't even have to worry about it. I just have to sit here and wait for it to be over. It's not entertaining. It's just... Considering you've been here for this long and you're still listening to me talk, I might as well say what I think about the entire series of Dynasty Warriors. Dynasty Warriors, as a game, as a series, lives or dies on its meta progression. And if you don't know what I mean by meta progression, I mean what goes on outside the actual fighting. What you can do with your weapons, what you can do with your characters, what you can do with your troops, what you can do to make the game interesting outside of the game. And what's outside of the game in this iteration just does not work. And it's just a numbers game that's incredibly dull, and it doesn't engage the player in any way, shape, or form than it really should. And I know I'm basically just repeating what I said before, but yeah. The meta game of Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition is fantastic for this. But for this, it's just playing around with 3 or 4 numbers, just dumping them into specific things, and just, yeah, it doesn't engage. Bloody poison gas. Oh, I've got plenty of... use this. Hi. You know, just for the hell of it, let's demonstrate a different one. Beat the shit out of him. Switch guard him. There we go. To be fair, I could probably charge the main base right now and just take it over. Probably wouldn't end well for me, but whatever. Earplug just fell out. I don't care. The game just, it really does sound terrible. It's like horrid. I love it. It's like some of the AI can activate things, they'll pull them away, and you can do the same thing. So it's like some troopers will just be like, I'm leaving now, and literally just disappear, and then you'll run like for 10 seconds and you'll run into them again. That literally happened to me the fight I did before I started recording this video. Like, because I was only like 30 seconds away from the main base. One of the things takes them back to the main base. They activated the thing that's come back to the main base and started running towards me again for no bloody reason. They just teleported away at full health. So like it made no difference. It just made me defeat them like 10 seconds slower. Yeah. I've really got nothing else to say on the matter. I'm just finishing this battle so you guys have some extra gameplay to work with, because there's not much else I can do. I want to activate Temper now, and I want to turn around and beat the shit out of these guys, because that's how we do things here. Okay, so there goes Pegasus. Maximilian J. Pegasus. I really want to play a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh game. Not letting you do that. I'll just counter his Musu with my own Musu. That way the Musus cancel each other out and nobody gets Musu because Musu is Musu. Yeah, that's how you do things. Do I have to kill him or do I have to... Oh, God. I just got knocked down. Okay, let's just swap weapons here and bang. It's not dead! Come on, die now. Oh, no. No, no. I'm okay. I'm okay. There we go. Yeah, that was the end of the battle. So, yeah. You got the numbers game, which you play a couple of times, and, yeah, just, like, try and get enough resources so that you can, you know, invade people and buy stuff. Then you go through, then you buy all your stuff, you get all your people set up, and then you do a battle that plays out exactly the same every time. It's either that, or you go and, like, be a free officer and don't do much of anything, or, yeah, it's just, I'm not... Hello, Simashi. Hello, Pegasus. Hello, Ren. Hello, Masu. Hello... Yeah, you might as well go. I've already got everybody else. Yeah, we took their entire kingdom, we took all their crap, and it's basically just that same gameplay loop. Play the numbers game, just get a couple of things, nothing that really interests, and then just capture the entire world in 50 years. Can't do that, game's over. Or someone else does it before you. That's a bad thing. So yeah, now he's saying that we can go on an invasion, but we're definitely not going to go and do that. So yeah, that was a look at Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. Got 100,000 troops, bloody hell. It's just no. Just no. I honestly cannot recommend this at all. It's just the strategy is dull, and that makes the combat dull. That's all I got. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.